Am I saying random does not exist in the universe? No, random exists, or at least I should say probability exists. Random probably doesn't exist. We just kind of use random to mean unexpected or disordered. But quantum events have a degree of uncertainty to them. That is the most random thing we have in our universe. And quantum events happen all the time. Anything outside of quantum events is just plain old cause and effect. But quantum events have uncertainty in them. And a lot of people who say we have free will like to point at that and go, that's where the free will comes from. But the thing is, most interpretations of quantum mechanics lead you down a path where that is not the case. Like, people like to talk about the many worlds theory, right? Basically, whenever a quantum event happens, there's one timeline for every outcome. This is the interpretation I personally believe in, by the way. In that case, all outcomes have to be represented. If there's a quantum event that leads to resolution A and a quantum event that leads to resolution B, there has to be a timeline for both. And if we say that quantum events have some bearing on our choices, then if you were able to make choice A and you were able to make choice B, there has to be a you that made choice A and there has to be a you that made choice B. You didn't make a choice, you made both choices. And you are just the you that made whatever choice exists in this timeline. You have to exist because that's the nature of the universe. Just as the other you that made the other choice has to exist because it's the nature of the universe. No choices were made, all choices needed to be represented. All choices needed a timeline in the quantum multiverse. In which case, our choices are not what create multiple timelines, but rather, multiple timelines are what create the illusion of our choices. We need to choose what we choose in this timeline because we're choosing something else in the other timeline. Now, if you believe in the Copenhagen interpretation, that gets a lot muddier because even people who believe in the Copenhagen interpretation, which basically states there is only one timeline and there's still a fundamental randomness to that timeline, there is data that informs the probabilistic outcome in quantum events. And by having extra data, we can narrow that probabilistic outcome. E.T. James famously said that quantum mechanics was kind of like a big scrambled up omelet that we haven't figured out how to unscramble yet. And this was in reference to the Copenhagen interpretation. I think what people struggle with when I talk about whether or not we have free will is that they feel like that immediately means that we don't have to take responsibility for our actions. But we do. That taking responsibility is just as predictable as anything else. Like if someone becomes a serial killer, that might be predictable, but them being punished for it is also predictable. In a way, we are all making choices. It's just that there's only one choice to make. We have will. We are driven. We do things. But the things that we do are a result of the laws of the universe because we're made of the stuff of the universe.